Hello and welcome to my channel, My Math 360. In this segment, I'll continue talking about solving quadratic equations by completing the square. And in the previous segment, I explained how to do so with leading coefficient equals 1. In this segment, I will go over example where leading coefficient is not 1. So the example that we'll be using, so we will be solving equation 9x squared minus 18x minus 12 equals 0. And in step 1, what you will need to do, you will need to divide the whole equation by leading coefficient. So when you do that, and in our case it's number 9, your leading coefficient will turn into 1, and then you'll follow the steps we already went over, but I'll explain it to you again. So what we're going to do now, we're going to divide by 9. So 9x squared over 9 will be x squared minus 18 divided by 9 will be 2. And then 12 divided by 9 will be 12 ninths equals, and then 0 divided by 9 is a 0. Now 12 ninths, I can simplify both 12 and 9 divisible by 3. So I will rewrite the first portion, and then minus 4/3 equals 0. In the next step, based on the first two terms, I will need to come up with a third term that will fit into the perfect square formula. So step 2, I will use x squared minus 2x to come up with the third term, and then I also have minus 4/3, and I have equals 0. So the third term I'm talking about from the perfect square formula, and I'll recall the formula: a plus minus b squared equals a squared plus minus double product 2ab plus b squared. So remember, the sign inside of parentheses will dictate the sign in front of double product, but the third term, the sign in front of the third term is always plus. So what I do have two terms, and I need to come up, so that's the two terms that I have, and I need to come up with a third one. I need to, in other words, to come up with the b. And the short way to do that is to take the number that's in front of x, divide by 2, and it's always the same steps, and then square. So that would be the third term. So that would be x squared minus 2x. Remember, always plus. So that's the easy part. The sign is always the same. It's plus. Then 2 over 2 is 1, and then squared. And also, I have minus 4/3 and equals 0, but before I get to it, the 1 squared was never there. We made it up. And because of that, I added 1 squared. I need to immediately subtract 1 squared to keep equality true. Once again, it was never there in original equation, so I cannot just decide to add because I need for the formula. I need it for the formula. If I added this number, I'll have to subtract this number to keep the equality true. So I also have minus 4/3 that was there in the original equation, and then equals 0. So step 3, what I will do is I'll use this trinomial. So the whole idea behind figuring the third term out is that now we can roll this into the perfect square. So that would be x minus 1 squared minus 1 minus 4/3 equals 0. to solve this equation, the first I will need to leave x on the left side of the equation and move those numbers to the right. So -1 minus 4/3, I will simplify on this side. -1 minus 4/3 will be -3/3 instead of 1, minus 4/3 will be minus, denominators the same, and then -3 minus 4, so that will be 7. So that will be -7/3. So this is my -7/3, and then when I move it to the right side of the equation, it will become a +7/3. So next step, step 5, what I will need to do, I'll need to free the x. So x sitting inside of parentheses, so it's kind of locked in under the square. To free the x, I will need to unlock the square. And remember what we need to do, we need to take square root out of the left side, because the square root will eliminate the square. So that's gonna be x minus 1 squared, and then because I took the square root of the left side of the equation, I have to do exactly the same thing to the right side of the equation to keep it true. And remember, every time you take the square root of a number, it's plus minus. So next step, that would be step 6. Now left side, x is free, the square root eliminated the square, so I will have x minus 1 equals, and then the right side is plus minus. I need to work on square root of 7/3 because I cannot leave fraction, remember, inside of the radical. I need to rationalize the denominator, and I'll do it right here. So we have square root of 7/3. This is square root of 7 over square root of 3. So to rationalize denominator, I need to multiply top and the bottom by root of 3. So now denominator is 3 and the numerator is root of 21. So that will be plus minus root of 21 over 3. Now adding 1 to the both sides, and I'll have x equals 1 plus minus square root of 21 divided by 3. If you would like to rewrite your answer in a solution set, so that will be 1 plus minus root of 21 over 3.